Well, here we go. The first thing to start with is your yeast mix. 300 mils of tepid water, 2 teaspoonfuls of sugar and 2 teaspoonfuls of yeast. And I can't stress I've wasted more time and effort with poor quality yeast and poor quality bread flour. Use the best quality bread flour and yeast you can find. Very important. So once it starts to bubble, you know that your yeast is working. Step 2, you need 500 grams of good quality bread flour. And with my eyesight, I'm having to look very carefully here. Come on. Yep, there we go. Into which we add, or at least I add, 1 good teaspoonful of salt. Don't add too much. Trying to stay healthy these days. And to that we add 2 tablespoonfuls of oil. 1, 2. And that's basically the ingredients. So before adding the yeast, I give all the ingredients a good mix. Now I would advise anybody starting from scratch with bread making is to do it by hand and never use a wooden spoon when mixing. Use something like a table knife. Wooden spoon, the dough starts to stick to the wooden spoon and you waste time and effort. Now this mixer with a dough hook tends to throw the flour to the edges, so I just like to manoeuvre it in to the middle. And then we can add the yeast mix. So it just goes around the sides. And bread is very much learn as you make it. Depends on temperature, humidity, so many other factors. And as you can see, it starts to form a dough. Very gloopy and sticky at this stage. Now there is a temptation when handling dough to flour your work surfaces and your hands. What I do is I use oil. That's what I do and I find it works. So there we go. Right, out it all comes. And we should have a nice soft, very elastic dough mix. Let's get off the hook. As I said, this is what works for me. After a lot of experimentation, trial and effort. I still like to give it a little bit of a knead by hand. It's a very soothing thing to do, is to knead bread by hand. At least I think so. That's what I find. So we've got a very nice elastic dough, and as I said, temptation is to flour your hands and flour your work surfaces. I tend to just use oil, much cleaner. Now I've already oiled this bowl. Just going to get a just make sure it's completely coated in oil. And just get the dough, plop it in there. and cover with cling film. Right, well, didn't take as long as I thought it would, and the bread has definitely, or the dough rather, has definitely doubled in size, so let's give me a bit more oil on my hand. There we go. And we give it another wee knead. Nothing too drastic. Just getting some of the carbon dioxide out. And what I tend to find is, to make 8 rolls, I need the dough to be around about 110 grams. Yeah, there we go. Maybe a bit more. And you can be quite rough with it when you roll it in. And then just pop it on the tray. So there we go, I've weighed out the bread. As I said, I go for about 110 grams, and that seems to work out fine for 8 bread rolls. Covered in cling film now for a second proving. Probably take about another hour and a half again. Right, the oven's been preheated to 200 centigrade. It is a fan oven. So the rolls go in and we adjust to 150 centigrade and set the timer for 25 minutes, and that should be it. So we'll come back in 25 minutes time and see how the rolls are getting on. Well, that's the rolls just out of the oven, and putting them on the rack to cool. We tap on the bottom to make sure they are cooked through. You can always put them in for another couple of minutes if you need to. And there we go. You've got to let them cool right down. If you're going to put them in the freezer, let them cool right down. And you take them out about an hour and a half, 2 hours before you need them. And there you go. 8 nice soft white doughy bread rolls. Thank you very much for watching.